easy for us. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
right.
I
And
just
I
get to
drove
live
my
with
Model
Giant
T home
Slayer
at
and
night.
my life being easy. Let's get into some games.
Yes, on board with Aesah here in Lobby E. Thank goodness the game has started. Otherwise, I'd have to tell you what dinosaurs were really like in real life. But in the meantime, we've got a bow start on the Vlad. And, oh, wow, okay. Let's go Rageblade. Options
Yeah.
right there already.
Early Rageblade. Aesah plays a lot of Xayah. On ladder, he's
Who
one of
doesn't?
those guys that will play like a lot of different stuff. But like once it comes to tourney, he's definitely like a little bit narrower, as even though he is opening himself up. But Xayah, he knows it's such a meta comp. He will play Xayah, especially off of Rageblade, early Astrals. I'm pretty sure he already knows what he's doing.
Yeah. 100%.
CF
Sword,
as
okay.
well. Okay.
Yep,
I
happy to
see
see
Xayah
that.
items.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the direction he's thinking. I mean, what player wouldn't at this point? You can have, Nidalee carry those early on. You can have a lot of people carry that stuff early on, honestly.
Yeah.
What's it going to be?
Nidalee and Varus, two very good Xayah item holders within Astrals, get that econ going. With Aesah setup, he found another Vladimir, so he doesn't have to have a Rageblade stuck on a Vladimir if he does want to play Astrals. So now he can put down the Nidalee. He's got pairs of the Skarner and the Nidalee, so reasonably expects to hit those sometime in early stage 2. So just overall a strong setup for this early game. Finds a Guild Crest. So we were watching, this is an insta take. We were watching Kyun right before this take his notes on what augments are just insta-cops, and he was talking about you take the Guild Crest because of how good Xayah is and how good this augment is for Xayah. So yeah, he takes it in a heartbeat, going to end up making the Vlad 2 and live with the Rageblade being on it for now, since he doesn't have the Nidalee 2. It's not great, but it's okay.
I think it's totally fine. I mean, at this point in the game, it's more important to have 2 stars and have your items on the exact correct units in a lot of cases if you're going for this kind of econ start. You want to be aware of who your item holder is, and you don't want to put it on something where you're not going to want to take it off later on. But with something like this, really strong early game board potentially, 2 Bruiser, you've got Guild going because of the crest. And that Vladimir, I mean, he's going to be hard to take down because he's going to be casting faster and healing himself faster and hitting slightly harder. AD Vladimir.
AD Vladimir, I guess. But as is, it is his strongest board because we don't... Yeah, we want this to be on Nidalee eventually, but we're going to want it... If we're playing our strongest board right now, it goes on Vladimir. Does that help him kill a single unit? Absolutely not, but the thought was there.
Thank you to Taco Bell Wi-Fi for showing us that early game Ezreal is okay. But that was interesting, Jeweled Gauntlet slam on there. So, looking at an AP route, we'll see where that goes later as we move over to VOIDSIN right now, who's got 3 Lagoon already. Wow, found the Kaisa, found the Seraphine, but doesn't really have the greatest start on the item front that we can see.
Yeah, he doesn't really have the best setup to go full Lagoons right now, but it's okay. Lagoon is... You can treat it as an econ trait in the early game. Just get some of the gold, get a free Reforger. If you have it in long enough, get a component. That's not bad, but you don't have to commit to the Lagoons. This is something I've done playing Rengar. You play the Lagoons early game, you get some econ going, and then you pivot out of it. These econ traits... You don't have to go vertical in them. People normally don't go vertical Astrals. They use it to get their econ rolling, and then once they get the chance to pivot out, they do.
There's like the little kind of side benefits too, the little minor ones, like while you're holding on to some of those, it's like slightly harder for the people that actually want to play Lagoon to pick up the units. At one cost, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it makes a tiny one, And I really feel like TFT is a big part of it is being aware of those tiny little micro advantages, Because I guarantee you, once per game, somewhere in the lobby, there's going to be a tiny micro advantage that does end up making the difference for somebody.
Especially at this level, where these players are just so close in skill, every little thing matters.
Yep, 100%. Nostereleven taking on VOIDSINs now. Noster also having the Lagoon going right now, but he's got that Leona too hanging out.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely the
surviving a little bit
stronger
longer.
version of the Lagoon board has the Leona 2 to complement the Zac as part of the front line. Did take the Jeweled Lotus, so could if he chooses to find an Infinity Edge for a Soam, if you were to go that direction, then that massively ramps Soam's damage. With that Jeweled Lotus pickup, and the Lagoon opener, I do expect Noster to go for the Lagoon's late game, kind of the opposite of what I expect VOIDSIN to do, of just use the Lagoons as econ and then flex out. But for now, VOIDSIN with his first pick and the Metabolic grabs a belt, so we'll check back in with him later.
Yep, sounds good. As we look around the lobby right now, our two undefeated players are BBEAR, DOTA, and Within. Kind of hard to read, actually.
Taking stock of the augments. Within not only has 100 HP, he's 100 HP with Clear Mind. So
Yeah.
that Clear Mind functionally an econ augment, because it's not giving you direct combat power, it's giving you extra money through not having to spend the extra money on levels. But the fact that he has a functionally econ augment and is win streaking bodes very well. We talked in game 1 about like the econ boost, and especially if you have a win streak, just how much money and how much health you have to work with. You just have so much to work with, and if Within can maintain this 100 streak for a while with Clear Mind, he's gonna have so much to work with.
Yeah, checking out Taco Bell Wi-Fi now on board with him. 2 stars already, including that Sejuani. He's got Yone into the back line with the full crit build, I guess. So we'll see what that turns into a little bit later. And that is going to be an easy round win. Taco Bell Wi-Fi really coming online in the second half of Stage 2 here. And you'd expect, I don't know, would you expect this board to be a win streak into Krugs? I feel like depending on who he's played, probably is what I'd say.
Yeah, I'm genuinely not sure about that. What I am sure about is he has 2 directions he can go. I think a lot of us, when we see that kind of AP, we'd think maybe Deja. With how contested the Lagoon is, and with him not having early Lagoons, no one's gonna imagine he's going Soam. So it's either Deja, or he could go for Lee Sin. This is something I scouted him, and he has been playing. He has still been playing Lee Sin carry around the Infinity Edge Dual Gauntlet build, even after it got nerfed, and has been having success with it. So has a couple options. With the Infinity Edge Dual Gauntlet is a pretty good item combos for the Warlord's Honor Mirage specifically, so he has a couple options of what AP comp he wants to go.
Yeah. Meanwhile, checking out BBEAR Dota's board, 4 Mage, 3 Astral, 2 Bruiser. Did find the Silas, that bumped him up to 4 Mage. And if you can hit 5 Mage early, obviously you're going to be fairly strong. It's really nice to have the Lux 2 at this point in the game, actually. Lux is like a frustrating unit because she can miss a lot, but at this point in the game where things aren't quite as dynamic fight to fight, she's going to be a pretty strong item holder.
She is a super strong unit in the early to mid game. She can just blow up backlines, especially if you get some damage items on her. So very, very strong mid game carry, especially if you can 2-star her early. I think it's also speaking to how contested mages are going to be in this lobby, because we've already seen those 2 blue buffs slammed. We've seen a couple other Lagoon players, even though we think VOIDSIN will pivot out, but you never know. So it's Lagoon very contested this lobby.
Yeah, I guess so. Somebody's going to need to adapt, and we know there's the item components out there where if somebody finds an early Xayah or something like that, maybe they can make the pivot. jasonjava trying to get the most out of preparation as he can. The thing with preparation is that it is a lot of gold sitting on your bench, and, you know, if you don't end up using one of those units, then it's a situation where, you know, suddenly you've kind of wasted that gold. But if you're going deeper into the Astral, if you're maybe trying to 3-star something, which I don't think definitely isn't, but I guess you could look at it that way.
Yeah, it's preparation. It's so much combat power. It just takes a little bit of time. But if you're taking that little bit of time anyway by just playing Astrals and building up your econ and not caring quite as much about your health, then you will get, once you hit late game and you start hitting like the pairs of your carries, And then once you get the preparation stacks and you upgrade them, that is so much combat power and so much stats in that unit. So it is one of those just bide your time traits or augments. And for jasonjava at 92 HP, he's biding his time and he has a lot of health to work with.
What do you think about the item slams, the Zeeks and the static shiv?
I think it goes towards Xayah, actually. This is something I've seen a lot of Xayah players do. They will slam the static shiv early to save HP and then just put it on the Twitch later to get as much value out of it as you can without putting it on Xayah herself when you'd rather have pretty much any two other items. So you just use it to save HP. And we got a prismatic.
Yeah, all right. Prismatic augments here in game number 3. Binary airdrop, always a little bit tempting, but I think the most tempting thing when I get a prismatic augment set is like trying to fight the urge to reroll and go for something truly insane, you know? But
yeah.
We'll see what jasonjava goes for.
He's gonna go for binary. You know, I can respect that. He doesn't have too many like core items. He's not like, oh, I have my 3-item carry already, I'm not gonna get value out of binary. It's going to be around, you're going to get at least 2 extra items here off of binary itself, and it depends on what he slams. He's going to need to. He doesn't actually get the second item slam off. Honestly, a little bit dizzy, and I don't even blame him. These components don't make that many good things. It builds a ZZ Rod, but honestly, I don't know if he wanted to do that. He would rather have saved the bow for maybe an 80 carry item, but we'll see where it goes. I'm genuinely not sure what he's playing from here.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation, right? Because I think he wants to keep the win streak going, right? So you slam the items in order to try to, make sure that happens, but it is a lot of, inopportune items now. That, like, again, ZZ Rot's not that bad, Zeeks is good, Static Shiv, not that bad. But nothing super ideal, so we'll see how he plays out of it a little bit later. Meanwhile, over on Nostereleven side of things, we got what looks like it could be the beginning of the Seraphine Death Ball kind of comp. But it could go a couple different ways, right? Because you got the blue buff and you have the Rod on Aesah as well. That could easily turn into a Morello's. Added to that, could go to the Sohm later, but flexibility at least.
I imagine this is going to go towards Sohm just because of the blue buff, and then you go, like, you live with the Shojin +1 on Seraphine. You probably want to go for blue buff Morello on the Sohm. Use that to just spread Morello. The problem with binary on the Lagoons, though, like, a lot of the Lagoon units end up being not like the greatest value. But at some point, like, binary is just such an overwhelming number of items that even on the lower value units, such as like Malphite, it's still 3 items. You'll still get so much value across the board, even if the units are a little bit lower quality.
Yeah, I mean, playing Deep Lagoon, you're right. Like, you get so many item components, something like binary airdrop, you should be able to get it on most of your team, by the end of the game. Which, by sheer volume, like you're saying, is probably going to be a pretty good thing. Checking out the augments across the board there. A couple binary airdrops. Celestial for tacobell Wi-Fi for a bit of staying power.
We do have 2 high roller takes from Aesah and Toronto Tokyo.
Yeah.
I wonder how those are going to get used, because at this point they're not really looking to go for 3 costs as far as I know, unless, I mean, we're looking at Toronto Tokyo. He's gone to level 7. I don't know what he wants to use these loaded dice on. He's probably going for Graves, I imagine. Just looking at his setup, he's gotten a good number of the components of a Graves comp, finds 2 Pantheons as well. It's just missing the Graves itself.
Yeah, and obviously only a 15% chance to run into one, or run into a 4 cost, and then, lower chance to obviously hit the Graves. But down to 1 gold, so this is a board that's going to have to kind of do work for a little while. Especially because Toronto Tokyo finds himself at the lowest HP in the lobby as well. So the ability to sort of come back from this is going to be a little bit tricky, maybe. I'm worried for Toronto Tokyo.
I am too. This is an awkward spot for him. Him taking the high roll here is pretty much indicating, hey, I want to hit a super strong board now that even without the combat power of a prismatic augment, I can still win fights, accepting that I'm going to be beating up people now and probably falling off down the line. But in order to do that, he has to use his loaded dice and actually hit a board that is going to punish people. Hasn't done either of those yet.
Not really, no. And I mean, there's some item components on the bench yet that could be spent. So there's an Aesah, so trying to find a little bit of frontline strength. Looks like maybe a Cannoneer angle.
I'm pretty sure he's going
for Cannoneer here.
I'm pretty sure he's going Graves. He's just using Nyla and what's her face, Senna, as replacements for now before he finds the Graves. He does play a lot of Graves, so this doesn't even surprise me. The thing is, he still hasn't used the load dice. He still hasn't hit the Graves, or he's not even playing the. Is he playing the Seraphine? He is playing a Seraphine, but it's. No, he's not. He's not even playing the Seraphine. So it's a Seraphine Graves comp. He's not playing either. He does take a win off VOIDSIN just from being level 7 and actually having a good board. But he's still sitting with a Prismatic on his item bench.
Yeah, it's almost like being an augment down until you spend that, right? And even after you do spend it, if you don't hit what you're looking for, you are, literally an augment down, right? So we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, what do you even use the loaded dice on?
Nothing yet, I guess.
I mean,
it's definitely the Graves. Like, you find a Graves, and then you try to find more, right? You try to just spike a Graves too, I guess, with it. But
more than anything, I'm just concerned he hasn't found the Graves.
Yeah. It can just be one of those games. I mean, when you're relying on finding a 4-cost at level 7, sometimes the odds can just be straight up unkind,
Yeah, he does have to find the Aesah. With the three loaded dice, his item bench is pretty sketch. So finds 4 Nylas. You know what? I'm pretty sure this is a Nyla 3 angle, because Nyla's odds on loaded dice are actually really, really good. So I think at this point he's just accepting, like, hey, I'm not hitting Graves at all this game. Let's just go for a Nyla board. And he does have the items to support it. Infinity Edge, Giant Slayer already. Yeah. If he wants to go for a Giant Slayer, I would personally build this just to get the item on the board. These components don't make too many better items, and you have a BF sitting on the Seraphine, you can remove her. So you have the potential for 3 very good Nyla items, and especially if you can hit a Nyla 3 super early, then you have... There's your out there. You don't necessarily have to go for Graves here.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is, if you have a 3-star 4-cost, then you're going to be strong, right? There aren't too many 4-costs that, when 3-starred, are not going to make a pretty big difference in the lobby unless the rest of your board is just completely trash. What's going to be? All right, yeah, Celestial, just skill a bit extra healing for Aesah here. Aesah chilling out in 4th place right now in the lobby. Looks like moving in that Guild Xayah direction. Oh, there's a Shyvana.
There's Shyvana.
Nice hit. Very nice hit for Aesah. I'm sure he's pretty hyped about that. And, we're looking at the loaded dice. Has it been used yet? Not yet for Toronto, Tokyo, but we'll keep an eye on it, because we do want to see what comes from that.
Yeah, Aesah did appear to burn 1 of his loaded dice earlier. Is still hanging on to 2. I imagine he wants to use those to, like, find the Xayah, find the Shyvana. Does burn 1, is able to get the Xayah 2 off it, so good value out of the loaded dice. I imagine he's going to want to now use that last one probably to find Shyvana, find Hecarim, find some more of the Rage Wings. Yes, he has the Guild Crest, but the 6 Rage Wing is still probably going to be stronger.
Playing against the other player who's been rolling the dice, or will be rolling the dice anyway, on the other side of the board. Xayah looks pretty scary, though.
Yeah, just the Nyla's in her face, and she does not care, because this Guild Crest on Xayah is something people have been putting on her pretty much since the beginning of set 7. Yeah, you don't, just for the trade itself, you don't need it on Xayah, but when you're going this deep into vertical, that's so many stats, because you give Xayah increased of all those stats compared to if the Guild Crest wasn't on her. So when you don't really... You could build the QSS on her, but it's not the highest value item right now. So just having that Guild Crest on her, giving her that absolute boatload of stats allowed her to actually just straight up survive a Nyla just beating her in the face and allowing Aesah to take that fight.
I mean, with 7 guild, she's getting 165% of the guild bonus. Plus, you know, you double it if it's a guild member, which now Xayah is. So yeah, you're right. Tons and tons of stats.
Tons of tankiness, tons of survivability.
Yep.
So we'll see how this Xayah scales into late game, going up against yet another Nyla player. Talk about Wi-Fi. That was not on my list. I gave VOIDSIN and Aesah, and I was wrong.
You didn't have that on the bingo card?
I did not. I'm so sorry. He did appear to recombobulate, I'll say that. So I think he just ended up with Nyla.
All right. Why not? Oh, Nostereleven takes a bit more damage here. And into the 4/4 carousel. What do we got? There's a Yone with a glove over there. Or a Yasuo with a glove, rather. But there's immediately VOIDSIN grabs the sword.
I just had a realization. Taco Bell Wi-Fi has 4 Nylas. Toronto Tokyo's WinCon was hitting Nyla 3.
You're right.
If Taco Bell Wi-Fi hangs on to that Nyla and Toronto Tokyo cannot find a champion duplicator, Toronto Tokyo cannot hit Nyla 3 this game, even with his dice, even with the really high odds of hitting Nyla 3 off that dice.
I did not expect Nyla to be the contested unit in this lobby.
I didn't either.
That's a bit of a surprise. It's cool to see something different, I guess.
Also, VOIDSIN's holding one. This is the thing about these lobbies. These players are good. If they see that, if they see that, like, if this unit, someone's going for the 3-star, they're gonna hold it immediately. VOIDSIN might be wanting to play this Nyla. He might not be, but either way, he's gonna hold it. He's going to deny this Nyla 3. It's just something you kind of expect from these players at this point.
Grave 2, pretty big hit for VOIDSIN's. Has the items to make a pretty potent Graves at the moment. Maybe not a 1v6 Graves, but potent-esque. But no, the Xayah are going to lock him down. And
let's take a couple more
the end of that round.
And VOIDSIN, we talked earlier about he wasn't going to go like vertical Lagoon, go into Soam with his items, and how contested the Soam was likely to be. Did end up in Graves, still kind of running the Lagoon, but not focused going on super deep into that tree. So has the Graves 2, has the preparation going, and is staying on level 7 to look for Seraphine 3 right now. Has 5 copies. The thing is, Seraphine is pretty contested in this lobby, so it's actually going to be pretty hard to find her. Yeah, just going to keep rolling down to 10 gold. Still only 5 Seraphines. This is a bit rough.
Yeah, a little bit. 19 HP is not where you want to be in this position. Over the other side is Within, who is trying to go for, looks like a little bit of a higher end dragon board, and that is exactly why. A lot of damage coming in.
Within has high-end shopping and clear mind, so he got to this point, I imagine, with a lot of gold from not having to spend it on levels, and has Terra 2 and Soraka 2.
We take those.
Yeah, we take those. Terra 2 is very good just standalone frontline, especially with that double gargoyle stone plate and the monolith, the damage reduction, really allowing her to be super tanky. I've seen so many Terras that just refuse to die. So really good hits for Within. If he can find an upgrade Aurelion Soul, he will be 100% good to go. As we go into this Treasure Dragon, just taking stock, we've got BBEAR DOTA, who also has a 2-star Ao Shin. Just 2-star legendaries all over the place.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, looks like there's maybe a bard that's been putting in there's a bard that's been putting in a little bit of work. Now he's being put in. But talk about Wi-Fi as well. Had like a million dutes on the board in that last round we just saw.
I do highly appreciate how, compared to game 1 when we were last on, which was 3 Xayah players top 4, I believe we only have 1 here, and it's Aesah, and he's just hard chilling win streaking at the top of the leaderboard.
I mean, yeah, that's like the dream, right? Is being the only Xayah player in a lobby.
Yeah, and that's coming in. I was looking at this lobby. It's actually not a lot of Xayah players. It's like BBEAR and Aesah that play a lot of Xayah. A couple more like flex players, but Aesah. There's a chance he came into this lobby knowing the game plan could be, hey, I can just play Xayah. He went to that game plan. It's working out very well. He has a very good chance at top 4ing as long as he can keep this win streak going.
It could be. Wow, that's Shyvana doing so much damage with the crit build. Is it going to be enough, though, for Aesah?
Is the Alshin...
Yeah.
Alshin will go down. Yeah, Aesah looking super strong. He still has a loaded dice, by the way. Has 30 gold, is going to be going level 9, probably around 6-1. Could probably use that dice to find Shyvana too. Really cap out his board and go for the win.
Toronto, Tokyo out in 8th. Our first pro player to fall this particular game. And jasonjava, is that the Seraphine 3? Did he find it? Nope, not quite. Just another Seraphine 2.
Yeah, VOIDSIN also appears to have given up on the Seraphine 3, sold the 2 copies on the bench, just recognizing it's so contested in this lobby. I'm never hitting it. I have to pretty much just donkey roll, hope for the Pantheon 2 and the Rakan 2, try and squeak out a 6, which is good recognition of just what you need to do. If he was trying to play for top 4 here still, he would be going hard 7th. He's trying to just squeak out as many positions as he can, as is though he's going into Taco Bell Wi-Fi and is getting some good damage. This Graves is doing a lot of work. Will appear to win him the fight and keep him alive for now.
Yep, still staying alive for the moment anyway. Something a little bit different from the usual. Meanwhile, waiting to see how the last fight resolves. BBEAR DOTA does get that win over Nostereleven. Okay, Nostereleven now on the bubble. 1 HP basically.
Yeah, Noster is struggling. He only has the Sohm 1. He has the binary airdrop, and he has how many? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Is that 6? Yeah, it's 6 units of value on the binary airdrop, but he's still sitting on a Sohm 1. This board just doesn't really have damage. So
yeah,
it makes sense he's struggling, honestly.
Okay, do you want to do that? Yeah, the thing is, I would rather stick with the Talia 1, honestly. As awkward as it is, you need mage. You know, you need that Sohm to be double casting if you want to have any chance. But, oh no, the backline gets hit with the Zyra ultimate, and there's just not much damage coming out of the Sohm.
There is no way Noster has enough burst to go get through jasonjava's comp. It's just looking like a 7th for Noster. You just don't hit the Sohm 2. It happens.
Yep. Certainly does once in a while. As with any 4-cost reliant comp, you know, which pretty much everything is these days, aside from a couple 3-cost rerolls.
Yeah, as we poke around the lobby some more, Aesah does finally get his win streak snapped by Within, which is not surprising. Within has a very strong, basically level 9 board on level 8, has spent all his gold. Aesah is 50 gold, is sacking to level 9, does expect to take some losses on the way up, but he just needs to go 2 more rounds, then he can hit level 9, and then look to cap out his board, contest Within for that first. Within right now looking very, very strong for that top 2 with that dragon board.
Yeah, and Within, I'm looking at trying to find his scores from earlier in the day. I want to see where he's at. Let's see. He had a 7th and a 5th, or a 7th and a 4th. I'm sorry. So, getting a 1st in this game would get him right back on track. So, yeah, a 1st for Within would be pretty big for the day.
It is really important to take stock of how these players' previous games went and what placements they're trying to go for. Within, feeling a bit behind, maybe feels like, hey, I have to go for a bit more 1st or 8th, not necessarily like go too risky, but if there's a risk I can take, then I'll take it. And maybe that high-end shopping on 3-2 was a pretty big risk. It paid off. He looks like he's going top 2. He looks like he's going to make up those points. If he was a bit further up in the leaderboard, he might have gone a bit more safe on the prismatic choices. So going for the bit of a risk, and it is very much paying off. It looks like he's going to catch up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Aesah has a pretty strong Zyra, but not strong enough to take down the Yasuo, especially with that Xayah being the only unit remaining. Yasuo's not gonna lose those.
For sure. I do wonder if Aesah is planning on going level 9 or is going to go for Xayah 3, knowing he's uncontested. He does have that fourth Xayah on his bench, has the loaded dice to go for it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for the Xayah 3 and uses that as his win con. I think he's recognizing that even if he goes level 9 and caps out, there's still a chance that he gets second to within. And even with how the rest of the lobby is spiking, there's a chance that going level 9 will not be a sufficient power spike. So he needs that Xayah 3 to win the game. So would not be surprised if he decides to reroll for that 4 cost instead of going level 9.
You may have to, yeah. Meanwhile, the Shyvana in the back getting a lot of work done here. Double barred for Taco Bell Wi-Fi. But they're all going to go down, and I think Taco Bell Wi-Fi might be in a bit of trouble here. We'll see.
This is a lobby. There's just one prismatic augment, and you've got so many upgraded 5 costs on stage 5. You've got the Alshin for BBEAR, you've got the Shyvana 2, which is what Taco Bell turned that IE Jewel Gauntlet Slam into. He's using the Shyvana as the carry. Upgraded 5 costs all over the place. You got guys like VOIDSIN just struggling to hang on level 7. Honestly, this lobby, VOIDSIN, you take a 6th here all day. This lobby is just too nuts.
Yeah, this is a pretty high-powered lobby, so if you can escape with a couple points at least, I think you're going to be happy. VOIDSINs will exit in 6. Taco Bell Wi-Fi now, 6 HP, along with jasonjava. So a fight over who takes that 4th place spot is going to ensue after the Nexus minion goes down here. Yeah, you're not like super thrilled to see the Sunfire Cape at this point in the game, probably, but you know, you'll take it. I don't think there's any anti-heal item-wise on the board right now for Taco Bell Wi-Fi. Ooh, Terra 2, that's a nice hit.
Terra 2 is huge. I want to say
2.
he also randomly has 7 bards. That was 8 bards.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm down for Taco Bell Wi-Fi to survive 2 more rounds, make it to, or 3 more rounds, make it to Carousel, pick up a bard off Carousel, bard 3. Please, let him survive. I'm down for that. Although, knowing this lobby and how crazy this lobby is, there's a chance that does not happen.
But where are the Dutes? 2 bards, but still only 6% chance for finding those 5 costs.
We need the Dutes. He just needs to survive against jasonjava first.
Show me the Dutes. I mean, it is going to keep the enemy team locked up and taking damage, you know, at least with these 2 bards.
Yeah, the double bard actually popping the Banshee, I believe. Was there a Banshees involved, or was that just Seraphine Shields? It might have just been Seraphine Shields.
Yeah, I think it's Seraphine Shields,
is the Shyvana is blowing up this entire clump. It will finally go down their graves. Oh no! Wait, the Graves survived. The Graves survived and pulled an Infinity Edge, so that gave it that crucial damage item, and sent Taco Bell Wi-Fi packing in 5th. That is unfortunate. 8 bards, you're 1 off, and you die. Feels bad, man.
Like, I don't feel like Bard is really gonna. I guess Bard 3 will carry you, but like
Bard 3 will carry you. Yes, yeah, Bard 3 is absurd.
Yeah, Bard 2 isn't going to get the job done, unfortunately, and jasonjava does win his fight, so surviving at 6 HP for now. But as far as the lay of the first place landscape looks like, within still looking strong, but not quite on that win streak anymore. We'll see how well Aesah does here. Got that frontline Zephyr, which can be very interesting. It's going to lift up the Pantheon, which is actually pretty nice.
Aesah did opt to go level 9. I think he's recognizing, like I said earlier, he's with considering people's spots in the rankings. Aesah is super high up at 15 points. He does not have to take any unnecessary risks. If he rolls down on level 8, misses Xayah 3, there's a chance he goes 5th here. Instead, he's just going to go level 9, secure the HP I can, secure a top 3, get out. I do like that play from Aesah quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty wise. I think when you're playing 6 games in one day, knowing how to squeeze every little point out of every game is so vital, you know? And so if you have to make that decision where it's like, all right, well, I'm positive I can top 4 with this, even if it kind of gives up the opportunity of top 2ing, you know, I think that's a valuable thing. But checking in with jasonjava. Still looking at that Graves Cannoneer angle. The binary airdrop, obviously, going to be online on, yeah, looks like 6 different champions.
Yeah, all the preparation value, allowing him to actually overcome some of the upgraded 5 costs in the lobby. Going up now against this Aurelion Soul. a super clump heavy board against the Shyvana,
Yeah.
against the Terra, against the
Crit
Aurelian
build.
Soul, but the
Oh.
there, wow, okay, there's the damage. You know what, jasonjava, the top 4 in this lobby without the upgrade legendaries, yeah, you take those all day.
IEJGGG for jasonjava out in 4th. Aesah out in 3rd. That leaves us with our top 2. Aesah actually knocked out that round as well. So now we move to our 1v1. It should be a pretty good one too. Bear Dota versus Within. Bear Dota on the win streak here. What's it going to be? All right, goes for the Thieves' Gloves.
Goes for Thieves' Gloves. We usually see, at this point in the game, it's like maybe one capped out Dragon Comp, but with just the nature of this lobby and the nature of the prismatics these two picked, we've got 2 capped out dragons. So at this point, it's kind of about how do you play around your dragon boards. There's a lot of different variations. This isn't a set board at all.
Yeah, as you can see.
We can call these Dragon Flex because it is super flex, just the units they hit. What you play around whatever, and BBEAR is only playing around 2 dragons, and meanwhile Within is going for 4. So you have a lot of options in this 1v1.
I think a big part of it is you want to avoid your clumps getting Shyvana'd, you know? If you can do that, you'll be in a little bit better shape here. Meanwhile, the Aurelian Soul, though, this crit build Aurelian Soul is doing so much damage. Reminds me of previous crit build Aurelian Souls in previous sets. But is it going to be enough? The Aoshin starts to fire away here, and there is a good amount of healing, but those Aurelian Soul ults are getting so big. There's no avoiding it now.
I do worry about BBEAR in this 1v1,
Yeah.
not necessarily because of the boards, but because of some of the itemization. The Aurelian Soul, yes, you're waiting for that point in the fight where the black hole just becomes massive and does extra damage, but until then, you're still getting really good damage off, especially with this crit build. BBEAR doesn't have any mana items on the Aoshin, so it's casting so late into the fight. You saw that fight, it just got a couple ticks onto the Aurelian Soul and then just died. This Aoshin does a lot of damage. It just cannot get that damage up in time, and that's why I worry for BBEAR in this fight, even though he's getting this good Zephyr on the Terra.
Yeah, no mana item means no mana means no spells. Getting casted here. Can Within close it out? I mean, when Aoshin casts, it does damage. It's just a matter of getting him to do it.
Yeah,
Also, that is an extremely tanky Itis as well. Oh, okay.
He got the cast off that time.
Yeah.
The Zippy actually kind of fed the Aoshin mana, so the Zippy throwing a little bit and going to allow BBEAR to win this fight. So
Okay.
at some point, it's just a back and forth of just how do you like optimize for these fights. Within needs to figure out how to not get his Terra's effort, because that Terra being off the board just by such little time. At some point, you might have to consider even taking it off that monolith hex just to avoid getting its effort. You're playing around with, what do I value? Do I value that damage reduction, or do I value having a Terra on the board at all?
Right. I mean, Bear Dota does also have that Terra 1, still waiting for the other Terra to show up, which is a little bit scary. Item-wise... Alright, so no Zephyrs, no Cloaks, nothing big and kind of board changing like that. Roll-downs happening here. There's a Terra 2 for Bear Dota. That's pretty big.
That is huge. And Bear Dota is also level 10, which does give him an advantage in this fight now. They are both technically down prismatic combat augments. Their combat augments are, they got to this point, they have these cap boards. But BBEAR does have a level on Within, does have now a 3rd item on this Aoshin. Even though it's a Titan Resolve, it's not great. It is still a 3rd item. Gets the Zephyr on the Terra again. This probably isn't the last fight, but if this goes well for BBEAR, then I think that's going to be really indicative of something here.
Yeah, I felt like the first Aurelian Soul ults were pretty good for Within. But now, now the Aesah is getting jumped on the other side. It's looking a little bit better. Aoshin gets another cast off. Bard duding it up in the back lines. Welcome back, Bard. And okay, there's a good chunk of damage over onto Within. So we may be heading for our last round here, but this is one of the closest games of TFT I've seen in a while.
I do like how BBEAR is positioning. He's nailing the Zephyrs on Within's Terra. He's putting his Aoshin kind of just in the back alone, basically guaranteeing it doesn't get touched by Aurelion Sol. If it's not getting touched by Aurelion Sol, the chances that Zippy comes into the back line and like you take the little bit of disruption, but you also take it feeding the Aurelion Sol mana. It's not going to die. And this fight, he's going to put that little bit of a clump around Aurelion Sol. I wonder how that's going to affect this fight. And does not get the Terra Zephyr this time. That's also that is also huge.
Xiaoyu walking away with the double redemption probably is a little bit of a bummer as well. Not going to get as much of a bonus from that. That said, though, damage coming in. Okay, Aoshin casts. Bard goes down. Such a close fight.
Oh,
another cast.
One more Aoshin cast, and the Yasuo's still up, so it looks like BBEAR is going to take it.
Yep, BBEAR Dota able to win in Lobby E here. Getting the first place there. The Battle of the Dragons. I felt like I was watching Godzilla or something at the end. I was like, let them fight. And we're moving lobbies. We still got